There are many rumors about India online, such as the claim that the average IQ of Indians is around 80, based on real data from well-known international research institutions. However, I have always opposed quantifying human intelligence in this way. My opposition alone lacks persuasiveness, so I need Indian netizens to join me in debunking this rumor. This requires you to demonstrate basic logic when speaking online and avoid posting utterly foolish remarks. Otherwise, rumor spreaders will hold institutional data in one hand and your foolish comments in the other, reinforcing the stereotype of low Indian intelligence. So, netizens of the Bharat Empire, let us unite to defend the dignity of Indian intelligence and declare war on foolish comments. This episode's focus is on an Indian individual who, after I posted a video stating that China cannot save India and that the US holds the key to India's fate, left a comment correcting me. He claimed that the US has no way to defeat India and that an alliance between India and China would lead to America's failure. I was puzzled and replied, "Why would China ally with India? Are you joking? Would anyone on earth trust a two-headed snake or a stray dog that frequently changes masters? Would China be foolish enough to abandon Pakistan, a decades-long ally, to ally with India?" Although I did not use crude language to attack his intelligence, I genuinely struggled to understand why he held such a view. To my shock, this Indian netizen told me to update my news, claiming that yesterday, China and India reset their relations and re-established ties. India has the right to choose its strategic direction and can ally with China, but only if China abandons its approach of bullying India. Honestly, such comments, when seen by audiences from other countries, especially Chinese people, would immediately reinforce the notion that the average Indian IQ is 80. Yesterday, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi met with Modi. Indian media, such as First Post's Paki Sharma, released a video claiming that China and India rebuilt ties. So, whatever Paki says represents the truth. Then Paki could simply publish news claiming India has become the world's top superpower, with Trump rushing to visit India and grovel before Modi. That way, Indians wouldn't need to ally with China. They'd already have one. If you believe everything Paki says, what's the point of having a brain? A few months ago, Paki predicted that China would be crushed by America's tech blockade and that India would replace China in providing goods and services to the US and Western countries. Those videos are still on her channel, and I've made response videos commenting that Paki would become a laughingstock and India would be humiliated by the US and Trump. My prediction videos are still available in my channel's India playlist for you to check. Just days ago, Paki claimed America's tariff war had dealt a heavy blow to China. If China is on the verge of defeat, why not stick with the US to strike China instead of allying with China? Wang Yi visited India because Modi first sent Jaishankar to China, requesting a visit to Beijing to curry favor with Xi Jinping. When Wang arrived in India, was he supposed to avoid diplomatic pleasantries and insult Modi in front of global media? Even US Vice President Vance, during his visit to India, declared India and the US as key democratic allies. Yet days after leaving, he stated India's conflicts have nothing to do with the US. He also complained to his boss, Trump, that Microsoft hired too many Indians, taking jobs from Americans. Consequently, Trump publicly warned companies like Microsoft and Google to reduce Indian hires and ordered reforms to the H-1B visa system. Can't Indians distinguish between diplomatic rhetoric and a country's true foreign policy? China holds a full set of tools to sanction India, including urea, rare earths, pharmaceutical materials, engineering equipment, industrial machinery, and advanced components. The US, meanwhile, wields market power as India's largest trade surplus source, while India, a trade deficit country, relies heavily on the US market. The US can also cut off remittances from Indian diaspora to India or kick India's outsourcing out of the US market. What right does India have to choose its strategic direction? You claim China must abandon its approach of bullying India, yet China hasn't occupied an inch of Indian territory, while India occupies China's South Tibet region. These disputes can be negotiated, but if talks fail, It comes down to national strength to determine the winner. When Bill Gates and Elon Musk have a dispute, if a beggar claims he has the right to choose whether to ally with Gates or Musk, isn't that a colossal joke? Do you think Gates or Musk would care about that beggar? As a human, holding firm to one's beliefs and not easily changing stances is the most basic principle of character. If a person changes colors like a chameleon, they become an object of ridicule, a clown. Since Modi has chosen to oppose China, betray Russia, and curry favor with Americans, he must stick to it. No matter how harshly Americans beat him, he must endure. If India and the US truly defeat China, the US will at least toss some scraps to India. But if India betrays the US now and turns to China, the Chinese certainly won't trust India. They'll only use some scraps to deceive it, letting it fully antagonize the US, then join the US in beating this stray dog. In yesterday's video, I said the US holds the key to India's fate. This isn't emotional rhetoric, it's fact. China cannot save India. Even if China gave India rare earths, urea, machinery, and components, could India survive without the US market? Without America's massive trade surplus, diaspora remittances, or the billions scammed from the US annually, how would India pay for its trade deficit with China? How would it buy Chinese goods? As India's leader, Modi, at a critical moment, fails to consider the nation's overall interests. Instead of emulating Vietnam's leaders in fully appeasing the US, he clings to his tough image and grumbles at the US. Doesn't he know he holds no cards? Doesn't he know Trump's personality? If he kneels to Trump and grovels, he may be humiliated and lose the next election. But India would gain a lifeline, retaining the US market, jobs for businesses and people, and work visas for Indians in the US. If he remains defiant, he might leverage nationalist sentiment to secure votes for another 5 or 10 years. But India as a nation would be doomed, becoming a complete economic pariah. Of course, Modi isn't entirely without a chance to curry favor with Xi Jinping. But that comes at a cost. India would need to make clear concessions on core issues like South Tibet and Pakistan, or China won't genuinely help India. Moreover, helping India could worsen China's relations with the US, which isn't worth it. So Modi and all Indians must be clear-headed. This is your last chance. Once you choose, there's no turning back. Whichever side you pick, you must offer enough benefits to prove loyalty, or you'll still get beaten. Yes, a stray dog's reality is not only getting no scraps, but also having to deliver results for its master, or it will be brutally beaten.